Good morning, friends. Welcome to lesson 10. It's Wednesday. I'll also be posting lesson 11 later today. I'll record it right after this. Um, Today, we're going to be adding fractions again. This time, they're going to be greater than 2. Um, so, we'll be talking about how that's going to look. We're going to do it without models again. So, let's minimize and let's get started. First, let's start with one where we won't have to do any regrouping or changing of the units. So let me give a background color so it's not so bright. It's purple today. All right. So let's work with the expression 2 and 1/5 plus 1 and 1/5. So we've always said that we have to add apples to apples. So our units have to be the same. So first thing I want you to think of are whole numbers. Oh, the highlighter when I'm on purple doesn't really work, I don't think. The whole numbers are the same units, ones and ones. But we know that we can add tens to ones because they're all part of whole numbers. So we can add those together. So what's 2 plus 1? Well, 2 plus 1 is 3. So let's go ahead and just show that. 2 plus 1 is 3. But now we still haven't added the 1/5 plus the 1/5. So I'm just rewriting it to show my tracks of thinking. Um, so the first thing I did is I combined the whole numbers. Boom. Common units, ones and ones. We've combined them. Now our new sentence is 3 and 1/5 plus 1/5. Well, what does that equal? Well, now that we've added our wholes together, now we can add our parts of a whole together. So that would be our fractions. So now we're dealing with 1/5 and 1/5. Well, they're already the same unit, right? They're already fifths. They're already both fifths, so we can add those together. Well, what's 1 plus 1? Well, that's 2 always. So 1/5 plus 1/5 is going to be 2/5. So we keep the whole number, and then we add together our parts to get 3 and 2/5. Well, that's pretty straightforward when the fractions are the same unit. But what happens when we have the situation like this one? Let's do 2 and 1/5 plus 1 and 1/2. Okay, so instantly I see we got wholes, we got wholes in both numbers, and we have parts in both numbers. The one thing I notice about the parts is that they are not the same unit. We have fifths and we have halves. So we need to analyze our work like that. Let's rewrite our first sentence by combining the wholes. So 2 plus 1 is still 3. Oops, I don't want to use the highlighter. Let me use the pen. 3. And now let's rewrite the other part that we haven't added yet. Well, it's 3 and 1/5 plus 1/2. Now we have to think, what's the common unit? What can we make fifths and halves into both? Well, if we count by fifths, 5/5, I should say, 5, 10, 15, right? So which one of those is also a multiple of 2? 10, right? So we know that we're going to make fifths into halves. So I'm just going to change my color so you can see my thinking. I'm sorry, we're going to turn fifths into tenths. And we would do that by multiplying the bottom by 2. If we do the bottom by 2, we need to do the top by 2. What do we have to multiply 1/2 by? Well, we're cutting it into, to get to tenths, we need to cut it into 5 more pieces. So we're multiplying by 5, and whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. So really, let's rewrite the sentence. Really what we're working with is 3 and 2/10 plus 5/10. Now we can combine the parts because now they're the same unit. So what's 5 plus 2? Well, it's 7, right? So what's 2/10 plus 5/10? Well, that'll be 7/10. So the answer to this is 3 because there's 3 wholes, and we're going to combine the fractional units, and that's 7/10. Let's do one more where it becomes a situation where we have an improper fraction or a fracture greater than a whole, and we have to regroup. So what we're going to see is an example where that might be 11/10. And what do we do with that? Okay, so let's go ahead and erase and try again. Last one before we move to the problem set together. So 2 and 4/5 is the first fraction we want to use, which is almost 3, right? It's 1/5 away from 3 wholes. And we're going to add it to 1 and 1/2. Okay, so it's this, we got wholes that we can add together and we have fractions that we can add together, but the fractions are fifths and halves. Well, we just worked with fifths and halves just a second ago, so we know that the common unit is going to be tenths. But let's work our way through this step by step. Let's first add our whole numbers. Well, 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay. Now let's think, what are we going to do to our fifths? We're going to multiply fifths by 2 to get to tenths. We're going to multiply the top by 2, because whatever we do to the bottom, we got to do to the top. Because think about those area models. You didn't just cut when you were cutting the hole, you were also cutting the parts. So we got to multiply like that. And then over here, to get from halves, we're multiplying by 5. So we can see the new fraction is, because we've already used these numbers. I don't really want to cross them out, but I'm just doing it to show you. We've already worked with those numbers. And now we're doing our fraction. So let's rename our fraction. So 4 times 2 is 8. We know it's going to be tenths. And then we've already used this one, so we don't want to rewrite that. And 5 tenths. So now we have to ask ourselves, what's 8 plus 5? Because we know our 3 wholes is going to stay the same. What's 8 plus 5? Well, that's going to be 13. So 8 tenths plus 5 tenths, well, that's going to be 13 tenths, which is a fraction greater than a whole. So we need to rename it to be a proper mixed number. So you don't have to show the number bond, but I'm doing it so that I can show you how my brain thinks about it. I know that we can pull 10 tenths out of this, which is 1 whole, and that would leave us with 3 tenths left over. So now when I'll combine these, the whole numbers, and then have my part. So really this is 4, and what's left over is that 3 tenths. All right, so let's go ahead and move to our problem set. I know that we're already like almost 10 minutes in. I'm guessing, I don't have a timer. So let's give it a shot. Let's take a look at it. Let's say, it looks like it just wants us to add these first 6. Great. There's 2 more on the back, and then a word problem. Is there a third page? Sure is. Let's just do no word problems today. Let's get all the way through the 8. Just practice. Let's practice those addition skills. Okay. So I feel like I don't want to do the problem set with you today. I'm going to pause it and I'm going to do all the work, and you can just use it to check your work. Please let me know if you need me to explain it more. Also, one last reminder, today at 1:50, we're going to be doing a Zoom, and we're just going to be playing Pictionary. Mrs. Alphys doesn't have a Zoom this morning, so she is going, because she's at an appointment, but she's going to be joining us at that time. So go ahead and get to work on your problem set and make sure you check your work. Okay, thank you. All right, let's check your work. So just to kind of walk you through how I worked through this. First, I would add my wholes and I'd write that down. And then I would do my conversion to find the common unit. Then I put those back into my add-in and then I added it. Now, if you look over to the right on B, you can see the same process, but at the end, if it was a fraction greater than a whole, I wanted to rename it. And then same thing down here, you can see my common units I created. You can see me adding it up. And again, over here is our correct answer for this one with the renaming. Here's our correct answer for E. Here's our correct answer for F. And over here, you can see our correct answer for G and H. Again, no word problems. Now you're on to your exit ticket. So good luck. Let me know if you need any help. And if you want me to Zoom with you outside of our fun Zoom at 1:50. Hope to see you there. Good luck today, and let me know if you need my help.